Try well done, bitch.
Jack Mason knows he's going to die someday, but today, he's not in the mood.
I wish I'd never started smoking.
All right. Hey, folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined, as always, with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo!
Yeah, folks, and today we got an interesting film. We're going to be talking about Surviving the Game from 1994, and this film is based on a short story called The Most Dangerous Game. It's actually written by Richard Connell, came out in 1924, And the interesting thing, they did do a film adaptation in 1932, but the story in that novel goes, it's a big game hunter, and he gets, stranded on this island, and he encounters another hunter who's interested in hunting humans. Hence the name, The Most Dangerous Game. You know, this guy's hunting everything: Cape buffalo, tigers, lions, bears. But humans are, because of their cunning and wits and intelligence, are considered the most dangerous game. This film is an adaptation of that, and interestingly enough, there were a lot of other film adaptations before this one even. Like it first got turned into a film in 1932 with the same name, The Most Dangerous Game, but then we've had things such as Hard Target with Van Damme, The Pest. I like that one. It's funny. There was
Bloodlust. There was also The Hunt. There was Ready or Not, which came out just a few years back. Yeah. There has been a lot of versions of this concept where they all kind of follow the same blueprint in a sense, but what makes them all uniquely different is how they deliver the message.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this one, but they actually made a one called The Most Dangerous Game in 2022. I haven't seen that version. So that leads us to this film. So in this film, Surviving the Game, which is the adaptation of this as well, we get a character named Mason. He's a homeless man living in the streets of Seattle, and he hears about a job, with this hunting group. He gets offered a tour guide position, which is funny to me. Yo.
Pretty much the way that this story delivers its concept is in its own unique way, because they all focus on, the elites versus the have-nots, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, this one, that we have this group of elites that make it their personal mission to seek out homeless people because they feel that they are better than, and then like the homeless people are inadequate in a sense. They won't be missed. So they give them this false sense of hope by saying, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of money to come out to this remote location and be a survival guide for us. Yeah. Now,
meanwhile, they intend to just straight up hunt the guy.
They just hunt him. And it's kind of like they almost Hansel and Gretel him in a sense, because they give him one good night. When they first get there, they feed him good. They give him some high price alcohol. And, but this is where, in a lot of these films, you get these telltale signs of things that are just all kinds of messed up. Like we had a lot of this shit ain't right signs that are going on.
You might miss it the first time you watch this film, or realize it, later on, like, oh, it was all a trap to get him in, because like you said, they do the breadcrumb kind of thing. It's interesting, like, getting into some of the characters. One of the first guys we meet, other than Mason's buddy, played by Ice-T. It's interesting. It's Charles Dutton's character, and he's the guy that's kind of the recruit. You know what I'm saying? He sees him out there, and it's funny because it's at a low point for Mason. Man, Mason, his buddy's gone.
Dude, I was just about to say, like, the way that they set the tone in this film. I mean, dude, it is a domino effect of messed up shit. Like, it shows he's homeless. He's eating out the trash. His dog Mango just runs out into the street, gets hit by a cab, and then the cabbie's more concerned with like the dog messing up his cab, not that he just killed this man's dog. Then his only other friend left is this old man named Hank. He's like, man, we're gonna go get some food, Hank.
I like Hank, man.
I liked Hank too. He was, he was a real one. And then so then they end up going, they're both hungry. So Ice-T's like, man, screw this. We're eating good tonight. He knows where a meat packing plant is. He hops the fence, goes to get some meat, and then of course Hank's on the other side of the fence, and he crosses paths with a security guard that likes his job a little too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, there are people in the world that have met these kind of security guards. And so this guy, I mean, he hits Hank extremely hard and like rib shots him with the billy club. And, Ice-T puts in work, saves the day in a sense. They eat good, but then the problem is that blow did something to Hank on the inside where when they wake up the next morning, now Hank is dead. So in a 24-hour time span, Mason, he has buried his dog, his best friend, in graves right next to each other. All was lost for him. Like he was on his way to go and pretty much step in front of a Mack truck in traffic, and then that's where we cross paths with Cole, who's played by
Charles Dutton is genius, man. Like this cast is stacked. He's one of my favorite characters we meet in this because he does come in like this genuine social worker kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a missionary.
He's volunteering his time in the community. But like you said, the breadcrumbs are there early. Like he's like, man, what are you talking about? He's like, you got any family? You got someone that cares about you. And the questioning, maybe the first one, it doesn't hit right away. I'm like, well, that is something to be concerned about. But the way he's doing it, you're like, oh, he's testing to see if this guy has any ties. If this is a guy that we can bring that hunt, no one's going to miss him. No one's going to go. I'm looking for him. No one cares about him.
And then we also find out through this conversation that of all these other bad things that happened, that he also lost his wife and child in a house fire, which that's what led to him being homeless in the first place. So, and it's wild because like you said, the telltale signs, like once Dutton, gets his ear enough, he's like, look,
want
man,
want a job?
Go ahead, see my homeboy. What was it called? Hell's Canyon excursions or something like that.
Card, man. I want to get like
the card was dope.
Picture of that card and zoom it up.
Then that's when he meets Burns, who's Rutger Hauer's character.
Legend, man. Like this
and so he and Rutger Hauer, he's like, oh yeah, man. First thing he asks him is, man, I noticed you're smoking cigarettes. How many of those you smoke a day? And he was like, man, Mason says as many as I can find. So he was like, oh yeah, I don't think we need you. We need a guy with endurance. Yeah. Telltale sign number 2. And then so Ice-T.
But see, I wouldn't have thought that would be a red flag because, I mean, of course, if you're in the wilderness and you're hiking, you're going to need to be in some kind of shape. So that one doesn't, tick me off so much.
But what adds to the red flag is when he tells him jump on the treadmill for a half an hour and run at 12 miles speed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
That's still trying to test his endurance. What got the red flag is the way the movie started when they killed the one man in the mud. Like,
dude, you know what? That's telling you that's dope.
Well,
too,
at least the viewers is telling us what it's about.
Because that back and forth montage was really cool. Yeah. And then we go from that, and next thing you know, he gets the job because he was able to run on the treadmill. And now he's on the, Burns comes and gets him from the hotel. They're on the plane to this remote location. And then that's when, everything just kind of goes downhill.
The hunt is on, man.
The hunt is on.
But also, I'm going to bring it back to the cast. We've got, we meet our hunters, in the course of that. Gary Busey plays Doc Hawkins. Charles Dutton is back there as Walter Cole. Derek Wolfe is there as this rich millionaire who's trying to teach his son some kind of manhood ritual. You know what I'm saying? So we also get Derek Wolfe Jr. We also get John C. McGinley playing John Griffin. And that's about it. I do want to point out Robert Lee Minor. We've seen him before in Action Jackson. He was the guy in the cab that tried to he was the hitman that tried to run over Action Jackson when he did the backflip over the car.
And as far as the cast goes, I mean, the story is pretty cut and dry. Once we get to the remote island, the hunt is on, like we said, so to speak. But the cast is A-listers, but these characters are what really elevate this story in every way. Like especially when you get Ice-T as Mason, he kills it as the lead role. You know what I'm saying? You see such a progression from 91's New Jack City to this coming out in 95.
A little bit, man. I think honestly his acting, it's serviceable for this film. Like I think he's still, I think it works because they surrounded him with all this talent.
They
too,
did, but he still shouldered the load
a little bit. Like there's some wonky delivery, you know, in some of the parts too, and some of his attitude. Like even the security guard scene, he's like, "Stop beating the old man." And like, some of it is just a
bit excessive.
Like he's doing enough to make it work.
But then
like,
you know what makes him look like such a good protagonist, so easy to root for, is because of how evil the hunters are.
And it's because they're played by these heavies, yo.
And
these guys are heavies, man. Like maybe at the time some of them were like, I'm pretty sure Rock, you know, he's good, but we got Menace, we got the Rock TV show, but legendary Gary Busey, legend, man. F. Murray Abram coming all the way from Scarface, even and just playing character actors over the years, man.
Well, that's the thing too. Like
these guys were top notch, bro.
I mean, Rutger Hauer was great as the main villain. You know what I'm saying? He brought it. He was very unlikable. But Gary Busey was like, he stole the show for me. Like I love what we got from his character, because I mean, dude, when he starts telling that story where they're sitting at the table, he starts telling the story of, you know, how he got the scar under his eye. Oh, my dad got me this dog when I was 8.
Yeah,
and
dog
I had a dummy and I was throwing cherry bombs at it. So he pretty much trained the dog to be a killer on age 13. Dad tells him now, you know, you get in the pit with the dog, throw the cherry bombs at him, y'all gonna fight to the death. That whole story, that Ice-T had said that, you know, pretty much Gary Busey wrote that monologue the night before and then delivered that on screen in one take. So, you know, that is
so
just...
they kind of surprised. They didn't know exactly what he was going to say. I think that's cool when we get shit like that. You know?
And then, you know, it was wild because his character was Busey's character was so liked by the masses that actually at a later date, the screenwriter then later said that he regretted killing him off so early in the film, that what he would have preferred to do was kill off Wolfe, who was played by F. Murray Abram. Yeah. Kill him off and then have Busey be the father figure to Wolfe Jr. And then kind of that would have expanded the lore of not only Busey's character, but then could have brought a different dynamic to the way the screenplay, the film played out.
I think any of these guys could have played any of these characters. You rearranged it and moved it around. I could see him even walking up to. Could have put Dutton as Burns. Like the talent that was on work with these guys, it just so happened to play out how it played out. You also got Ernest Dickerson helming it, you know, as the director. Yeah. Also, one of the greatest cinematographers out there. You know, I think he just ended up in directing just because he had so much cinematography work. Like, did a bunch of the Spike Lee great stuff. He's still directing to this day, doing films, but he had a bunch of really top-notch genre films. You put this on there, Bones, Juice, like his filmography is crazy.
Bulletproof,
man. Yeah.
Bulletproof too. But yeah, you know, and also
Bulletproof, yeah.
I like what we got from John C. McGinley as Griffin. He was the hard-nosed cowboy. Like, he was the one when he first met Mason. Like, you thought that he was going to be the most evil of everyone. I mean, he was just giving the hard stares, the hard handshakes, just real like smug towards him and everything. And actually,
he's a jerk, man.
He was a jerk.
He was definitely like one of those dudes.
He was
man.
a jerk, but then he was the only one out of all of them that ended up having a change of heart. Like halfway through, after Mason spared him, he was like, I'm done with this. This is
Once he saw his humanity and they had to talk, and that's when we learned about what happened to Burns' family.
Yes,
when he's,
and that's also when you know where.
Not Burns, but Mason.
Where it comes back to the overlining concept of the film, where it's that these elitists, they feel that there is a hierarchy, that there's some kind of a pecking order, that they are above these other human beings because of their social status.
That's like anytime you could hunt a human, you definitely don't think of them as a human.
Exactly.
You're just looking at them as prey or as animals, man. You know, as some of them refer to them as. Even you can even tell. I like that dinner scene. We get in when they first get to the cabin and it's the night before the hunt, and they still haven't told Mason what's going on, and they're buttering up, they're giving them a nice meal, wining and dining them. But you can see some of them poking at him, trying to figure out his background. Some don't care. They're not interested in anything that he's got going on. So I like those moments too, man. They give us a little, like, this film is really short, you know, right up to the 90-minute mark, but we still get some kind of fleshing out of these characters, man.
And I
think
like
it's cool.
there was also a lot of like duality, like you said at the dinner scene, whereas Cole, played by Dutton, he is the one who actually seeks out the homeless people, as we said. But then there's this part at the dinner scene where he's going into detail about how he picked out the pig that they were eating. He was like, yeah, I knew the meat was going to be glorious because of this. You know, it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, he's doing some double talk.
He's definitely doing, you know.
Mason isn't picky, but Mason doesn't know he's being hunted. He might still think that they're out there for real wild game. That's what hunters do.
Yeah.
He's not, knowing that he's the target, man. So, what is cool, man. I like one of my interesting things, man. I love the way when they wake him up the next day, man. And he's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he got the Desert
Eagle
in his face.
poking him. Yeah.
he's like, man, what's going on, man? Yo, and Rock, he tell Walter, he said, what's going on, man? What kind of thing is this? And he's like, man, get that shit on, yo. The way he says it, yo, I'm like, yo, this guy is it reminded me of watching the Rock show. And there were times where the Dutton would just spaz out, like when he spazzed out on Clifton Powell, in that one episode. And yo, if you watch that scene, that was, I think, when Rock was still recording live. You could hear Clifton Powell like yo, take it easy. He calls him Charles. He breaks character because he was scared. And Dutton can be a scary dude, man.
Calm down, Chuck.
You can hear him. He's like Charles. While he's got him by the collar, I was like, yo, but yeah, man. So part of that came out. It's so fun, man. Like I say, when it amps up, Gary Busey, the hunt is on. All their temperatures are rising. So shout out to I forgot her name. I want to mention that. I just saw it in the cast when this thing started. Ruth Carter did the costumes in this film, and if you don't know, Ruth Carter would later go on to get an Oscar for the costume designs in Black Panther. And I didn't even know that she was in this, but seeing the name and the title of the screen as the film was coming on. So she's responsible for outfitting all the characters with their gear that they got on and stuff. And they all look the part at this point.
They do
when
look
they're
the
going
part.
out, they got their gear on.
And it's simple but effective. And also, the fact that they are all hunters, there's something significantly different about how each one of them are dressed. Like you can tell, Griffin is a cowboy. He's Texas and he's got his hat and everything. And then with
Wranglers with boots.
Wolf looks like, he's fresh out of like World War II and everything. When he got the big goggles and stuff. It's and even down to like the weapons that they use, their weapons of choice. Like with Busey, like everyone else is toting guns, man. He's out there with a Rambo knife and a crossbow. Like you could tell that he
he wants to stalk you.
He wants to stalk his prey, and he wants to kind of he wants to feel killing you, where everyone else is more like, catch the bullet, it's all good. And another thing that is equally effective as the costume designs is this setting, this atmosphere that they got us in. I mean, this place, it leaves no stone unturned. I mean, there's mountains, there's rivers, there's a lot of forestry. I mean, it looks like something like fresh out of Predator or something where if something like this was going to happen, it would happen in a place like this.
It reminds me of Predators.
Yes.
Remember how they brought the people they were going to hunt to this planet? There's no help around him. He's in a remote location for a reason. There's no chance of him running into some safety. He's going to have to really get the way it's going, he's either going to have to fight back and take these guys out, or run so far enough that he runs into people. But I don't think there's nobody. There's probably nobody out here for hundreds of miles, dude.
No, and that's the thing too. It's like I said, it's really focused on this false hope, because they're telling him, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to give you a head start, and if you get back to
false hope.
if you get back to civilization, we're going to let you live.
There's no false hope at all.
They're just making it seem like there's still a way to get out. That's what I mean with the false hope.
And I wasn't even going to trust the lead that they gave me.
No,
my man Busey was ready to go.
He was,
man, sit down and
he was like, come on. Yeah, he scarfed his breath. He was like, come on. But the thing is that's cool. It's like we also find that, and they make comments about this throughout, that, what they're getting from Mason is something that they haven't had before. And I love the duality yet again in this, because, this is coming from a man who was trying to take himself out. They felt like, when they saw him, he had no reason to live. And now he is fighting harder to stay alive. alive than they would have ever expected.
I think he listened to what his friend told him, man. You know, so maybe
and
he's trying to. He listened to the old man a little bit and was like, yeah, I can kind of dig myself out of this and put together something, a life, you know.
Yes, and he's going about it in such a way where, like, I mean, he's so resilient. And, you know, the lesson that all these hunters learn is, you know, you don't know what you're going to get, you know what I'm saying, when you deal with somebody that has nothing to lose. Yeah, you got to expect the unexpected.
I love the title, too. Like, even the idea of the concept of the most dangerous game is, it's like, because, you know, you don't expect to die deer hunting, you know, things can happen, but it's not like the deer is going to gore you to death, but something else fighting back, like something, or there's some game that hunters do go after that do pose that danger, and hunters die.
Like a bear, like a grizzly bear, or something like that.
A lion, elephants, like people like getting killed by elephants, but this is interesting, man. Like I said, it's a guy that's, like that first guy looked like, he
looked like he was going to put up much of a fight. Nah, he didn't even look like he could run fast. It was terrible.
But Mason is a little bit different. He's more focused, man. And I love when the tide starts to turn because honestly, for me, I don't think it's hunting unless there's a danger to the hunter, man. Other than that, you're shooting fish in a barrel most of the time.
Yeah.
So unless the prey can really, I don't really consider that hunting. Unless the prey could turn back on you some kind of way, or you know, there's some kind of fairness.
Give them a fair chance at survival. No, you're absolutely right.
Because the rifle does give us an advantage, but there's some things out there that like I said, man, it's deadly, bro. Like that's not like, and hunting a man, I think represents that in this case, and in the cases of the other adaptations.
It's really cool, like you said, man, when the tides start to change, and then Mason now goes from being the hunted to the hunter. You know what I'm saying? He starts slowly picking them off one by one. You know what I'm saying? And he's still doing it while keeping his moral compass intact. Like he doesn't kill Griffin. Like he's trying to give these guys the opportunity. He's like, man, look, man, I got your guy. I'm holding him hostage. You know what I'm saying? I just want to go home. Let me go home, and then you get your guy back. You know, he didn't want to be he didn't want to partake in the game, but he definitely didn't want to then,
like, even when you look at F. Murray, he doesn't feel like one of these core guys. You know, I feel like maybe Walter, Hawkins, and Burns are
they're the anchors.
But Murray, he has money, so they're letting him participate. You know, he's charging, like, I'll put up $50,000 for this. Like, he's not a regular.
For him, it seems like it's more of the social aspect. Like he feels he's better than.
Yeah, he's trying to teach his son the lesson. So maybe he came with them before on the thing. They charged him bread, and he's like, I'm gonna bring my son to this. You know, I learned I had a good time.
I'm gonna teach my son how to be a killer.
Like, why your son gotta learn this? He just gonna inherit your company.
Yeah,
you know, and to be like it's really, but it's crazy, man. It's almost an analysis, some kind of analysis on manhood in a little bit, like, and macho-ness. And I'm like, bro, like, people do this, but this doesn't define manhood. It is something to do. It's an activity, but it's not going to. And also because think about that on the other aspect outside of the hunting, these guys also have despicable characteristics that really aren't really.
Yes,
they're not a manhood like.
No,
if you ask me,
and the thing is, it's almost like they're portraying themselves as bullies. They're picking on the perceivably weak, the less fortunate, those that have. I mean, and then they're sending them.
Like a real man is not going to take another man and hunt him. Treat him like, come on, son.
And then they didn't even give him they didn't even give him a fair shot. Like, if you really wanted to give him a fair shot, at least give him a gun too. You know what I'm saying? Give him a way to fight back. They didn't. No, they just give him a lead. But that's the coolest thing.
If they was about it, they wouldn't have brought their own pig. They would have found something else.
They would have hunted something out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You go out there to hunt. You know what I'm saying? Go hunt something. It's like, man, come on, man. But and that's why, like I said, as we get this tonal shift, and everyone starts getting taken out, I really love the third phase, because then, as everything comes to a climax, you know what I'm saying, and it's pretty much just Burns versus Mason. Things happen where now we're back into the city. It's funny, they say it's supposed to take place in Seattle, but there was not a single shot of this film that was shot on location. None of it was shot in Seattle.
No, this movie shit,
Yeah,
but the wilderness looked like it could be there. Maybe
definitely
Pacific Northwest kind of.
But then when
Oregon,
when they're back in the city of Seattle, that's when, like, Mason, he almost like he reemerges as like the Crow, man. Like Rutger Hauer is like trying to, just get away with everything, and he's the only one left. He's changing his appearance and stuff, and then next thing you know, he's in the dark alley, and you hear Mason laughing, Burns, he messing with him and toying with his car and letting him know that I'm here and now I'm hunting you. But and he still does it in a way to keep his moral compass intact. You know what I'm saying? Where he leads with fear, because at this point, him being the only one who ever got away, that is scary enough to Burns. And then now Burns is all alone. He has nobody. You know what I mean? So I thought that was just, it was real tasteful how it ended. You know what I'm saying? I love the third phase, man.
Yeah. Overall, man, I think it definitely endures, man. Like, it's kind of wild. Like, I would like to see them revisit this some kind. Maybe Surviving the Game 2, same kind of scenario, but maybe it's a different group, man. Let me actually.
It would have to be a different group. See, they're all dead.
Well, yeah, but I'm somehow maybe have Mason back, an older version of him, and maybe he's caught wind of some other thing like this is going on. Because weirdly enough, man, I don't know. I feel like this may have happened in real life at one point or another. Some crazy guy with a rocket bread and just had a crazy idea. Just I don't know, man. It seems like something that are out of control.
You're on to something. Like if they found a way to bring Mason back, and then instead of him being homeless in the city, now he's almost like living out in the woods, just waiting to see if another homeless victim ever emerges, so he can help them.
Or maybe he's heard something, or he's looking at something that don't look right,
and he wants to help them survive, and then take out this next group of would-be elites. Yeah, that would be dope.
Maybe he trains a guy to go in and as the hunt.
And they could call it Still Surviving the Game.
It could possibly work, man. I think that could work, man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man, this is a cool film, man. It still holds up. It's a great watch, man. This ensemble cast, like I said, man, these guys did a great job, man, and it helped, man, putting these guys around Ice-T, man. Especially. I think he did what's the name right before this? What was the one where he's the kangaroo, man? Tank Girl?
That was after. He did do
that was follling this.
Was Trespass before this? He had two movies he did. It was New Jack, and then there was two movies that came out before this. I think Trespass was one of them, and then Who's the Man? But those were both smaller roles.
Yeah. Trespass, he was kind of the in that joint, a bit.
Yeah, he definitely.
I think that was '92. Trespass. That film.
And then Who's the Man? I think was '93.
92. So he was getting them steady. This was pretty cool. Get for him, man.
And it's wild too, because like I said, I love this movie. When I saw it for the first time, I didn't know about the short story.
I read that in my English teacher, man. Shout out to Miss Alexis.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it. So this
and showed us the original movie too.
This concept and this story, like, it caught me completely off guard. And I was like, wow, I was floored. My jaw was just dropped when I saw this happening the way it happened the first time. And the movie still hits the same way for me. I'm kind of surprised that it pretty much broke even versus
video got good,
budget versus box office.
Pretty sure
this is definitely one that would, more people probably saw at home than in the theaters. But man, it still holds up to this day, man. It's still very entertaining. It's still, and when you watch all of the other adaptations of this concept that have came out over the years, this is still one of the ones I think that would be on a top 5 list. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, because of the star power, the directing, the camera angles, and just, it covers all of its bases, as a good film should. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I think we can wrap this one up, folks, man. Y'all can catch us on the next show, but make sure you follow us, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Check below, we got some cool merch you can check out if you want to support us that way. And follow us on Instagram at Classes of Cinematics. And you can follow me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And this is Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show.